Before you start to fill out the FAFSA, you should gather the required information and documents. In this video, we'll go over all the info you may need to fill out the FAFSA, and we'll provide some tips on how and where to find this information. First, all students should create an FSA ID. The FSA ID is a unique username and password that acts as your legal signature when you sign and submit your FAFSA. If you are a dependent student, which means you'll need to include your parents' information, at least one of your parents should create an FSA ID before starting the FAFSA. It is possible both parents may need their own FSA ID in some circumstances. For more information, check out the link in the description. To create an FSA ID, you will need your full legal name, personal email address, and date of birth. If you have a social security number, you will need it as well. If you are a parent without a social security number or a student from a freely associated state, you will also be required to create an FSA ID. This process will require your legal name, personal email address, date of birth, and home address. Next, if you must provide parental information on your FAFSA, you will need to gather some basic information about them. Remember that a parent on the FAFSA can be a biological, adoptive, or step-parent. If your parents are unmarried or separated and don't live together, you must include the parent who provided the most financial support over the past 12 months. If this parent is remarried, your step-parent must also be included. Once you start the FAFSA, you must provide your parents' full names, their social security numbers if they have one, their dates of birth, and their email addresses to invite them to fill out their section of the FAFSA. The student and parent sections of the FAFSA ask several similar questions about income and taxes. While most tax and income answers will be provided by the IRS when you consent on the FAFSA, it can be helpful to have tax forms on hand to know what information is being shared. The 2025-2026 FAFSA requires the 2023 Form 1040 and any schedules. If you or your parents are unsure about what exactly was filed, gather all of the documents in the tax packet to have on hand while filling out the FAFSA. If taxes weren't filed, you won't need any tax documents. The FAFSA will also require information about assets for you and your parents. Some information to have on hand when you are filling out the FAFSA include amount of money currently in bank accounts, like checking and savings accounts, the amount of child support received in the last complete calendar year, the net worth of current investments like stocks, bonds, and rental property, and the net worth of any businesses or farms. In addition, the FAFSA asks if your family receives any means-tested federal benefits, like Medicaid or SNAP. But for these, you do not need to list the amount received. It is also helpful to have an idea of the schools you intend on applying to, but if your list changes after completing the FAFSA, you can go back and add more schools. Once you have gathered this information, you can begin your FAFSA as soon as it's available. While this is a lot of information and documents to gather, being prepared ahead of time will make filling out the FAFSA much easier and quicker for you and your family. For a complete list of all the documents and information you will need, check out U Aspire's FAFSA checklist, linked in the description box.